Okay, I guess I have to. In the previous Scott Pilgrim video, I know I was saying some blasphemous things. I get it. And so before we start this video, right, I feel as though I should apologize for absolutely nothing. That movie sucked. No, I'm playing. So I remember watching the Scott Pilgrim film, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, back when it first came out in 2010. And I really did not think that anything, I can't remember anything. I mean, you're talking about something that happened 14 years ago. I don't remember a thing about the movie. Then I played the video game back in 2012, I believe. The original one on the 7th generation PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, not the Switch one, which re-released in 2021. Yes, 2021. So I rewatched Scott Pilgrim vs. the World for the second time. 13 years later, I rewatched it about a few weeks ago at the end of 2023. Remember nothing about the movie, remember nothing about the characters, the themes, freaking like Men in Black. Like my memory was gone of anything having to do with that movie. So I rewatched it, and I'll be honest, I did not like it as much as I thought I would. I thought it was a great movie. Absolutely beautiful direction by Edgar Wright. The casting, the music, cinematography, I loved everything about it. The only thing that I was not particularly that big a fan of would have been, I feel as though it's odd. Because I'll get into what I did not exactly like about the film, but I don't want to say it way too early in on the video. But so I watched it and I enjoyed it, but I knew there was something more to the plot that felt like there was a lot missing. One thing that threw me off about the movie when I first started watching it, right, was how much information was being thrown at the viewer within the first hour or so. It felt like I was watching a YouTube video whose target demographic is Gen Z, which... What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be playing Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game, Complete Edition, brought to you by Limited Run. You know the ones I'm talking about. You know the ones within the intro. There's already 15 million jump cuts within the first 15 seconds. You've already seen 30 different locations and people. It feels like you've barely gone a minute into the video and it feels like you've seen 30 different TikToks stitched together. And then they have these stupid ass subtitles. Get this shit off my screen! Fuck! The movie was just going way too fast and giving me so much information that I could not retain it. It felt like it was trying to give me ADHD. And it's like, brother, I'm already self-diagnosed. You don't have to do that for me. I also do have a video dedicated towards the Scott Pilgrim comic book, which I read, absolutely loved, because it gave me this unique perspective on, the movie's only it's just shy of 2 hours, and you can't really condense, well, first of all, the fact that Edgar could even condense 6 whole comic volumes into just barely 2 hours is honestly commendable, and the plot is, for the most part, all the way there. There are a bunch of characters that are missing that are in the comic that's in the comic that isn't in the movies, and there are some that actually do show up in the movie, but their plot points and their character arcs aren't actually shown, which threw me off when I watched the movie a third time about a day ago. I was like, oh my gosh, this character's in there, what the hell? I didn't realize that. But yeah, it makes sense why at the start of the film, why there was so much information and so many people being introduced. It felt like way too much of an overload for my brain to really comprehend. I remember distinctively the scene where they were playing their first gig and Knives' friend Tamara was in the background. When I watched the movie for the second time about a month ago, I saw Tamara in the background. They hadn't introduced her as a character yet. And so I'm like, who the fuck is that extra in the background? Yo, this bitch needs to be fucking fired. Why is she looking at the camera like this? Come to find out, she's not an extra, she's an actual character. But that was just, I was so confused while watching the movie because it was like so much things back to back and I just couldn't really keep up. But again, the task of condensing 6 whole books into one film is bloody insane. I tried to record this video early on, but I redid it, so I'm not sure if I really hit upon this. But when I was younger, I always was interested in things that people around my age weren't really talking about or knew about. And I remember watching the Scott Pilgrim film back when it first released, 2010. And from what I remember, nobody around my age group knew about this movie, talked about it, or anything at all. And it wasn't until, I would say, 2018, 2019, sorry if you can hear my cat in the background. I feed her, so she should not. I don't know what's going on. Jiggles, you alright? Yeah, I think she's doing fine. Anyways, it wasn't until around about 2018 or 2019 I saw people around my age talking about Scott Pilgrim. I didn't get it. I still honestly don't get it. I'm lying. I do get it. I just pieced the shit together in my Abdullah-Gotams. But we'll get to that further on in the video. But I didn't really understand why people were talking about this movie again, or this character again. I remember back in high school, I had this friend, he was talking about Scott Pilgrim. I was all like, yeah, that movie from like almost 10 years ago, what about it? He's like, yo, it's the best thing ever. I'm just all like, yeah, why are you on this now? I'm like, where were you in 2010? when it was current? But that's what I want to talk about. Because I realized while I was thinking about this movie, I was like, yo, this movie came out in 2010. Understand that I do not know if this is fact or not because I just did a bit of research. But apparently the movie did not do well when it first came out. And I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. This movie inspired by, this movie about a comic book character that was inspired by anime, video games and all that in 2010? No shit, this didn't do well. Like 2010 is right before the cusp of geek and nerd culture becoming the mainstream within like society. Like this is oh shit, my camera's about to die. Bitch. This movie came out literally right at the transitional point before geek culture became the mainstream in society. Like this is 2010. This is about 5 years before anime hits the mainstream. And before anybody says any dumb shit, yes, I am aware. Anime in the West had waves of mainstreamdom. Of course you have the Dragon Ball, of course you have the Pokemon, of course you have the Attack on Titan Season 1 2013. I'm talking about the post-2015 anime fans, because listen, yo, if anybody who has watched anime before 2015 and post 2015, you know these new anime niggas, they are insane, okay? They are crazy. As a person who was deep into anime before 2015, these new niggas scare the fuck out of me, man. They scare the fuck out of me. Like these My Hero, Jujutsu Domain like these new niggas, they scare the fuck out of me, bro. They do. Can y'all believe in 14 years we live in a world now where if you don't watch anime, you're in the minority? That's great. That's great. So this movie came out before anime became mainstream. It also came out 2010 before gaming became mainstream, and I swear to God, if you started gaming in the 6th generation, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, or Wii, do not comment. Of course, gaming was popular back in 2010, but geek culture completely had a 180. If you were a gamer, if you watched anime, if you were into anything that was considered nerdy in the 2000s, very, very early 2010s, before 2012, that year specifically, yo, you were seen as a loser. You were. Specifically, gaming changed around in 2012 because of social media. Specifically, I've already talked about this, so I'll skirt past it as quickly as possible. Essentially, the YouTube meta of 2012 was gaming videos. That's why you see a lot of the people who were considered like OG YouTubers, even though they started in the 2010s and YouTube came out in the mid 2000s. But anyways, a lot of the OG YouTubers started out in like 2012, somewhere around there. That was the meta of social media at the time. It was gaming videos. It was either that or you were a British vlogger. You only had two choices. It was either video games or you were a vlogger in England. Like, the culture has just completely shifted. Nerd culture back in the 2000s would get you fucking beat up for being a nerd, whereas nerd culture today, that's just kind of culture at that. That's just kind of culture at. Do y'all ever think about how Twitch? Okay, I just had a thought and I have to move on. Have y'all ever thought about how a site like Twitch is where people are coming up with popular lingo and slang for the youth now? Imagine going up to a high schooler in 2010 and saying, yo, all the new shit, all the cool shit is gonna come from this gaming site where some dude sits in his room and just records himself talking to a camera all day. Before you'd even finish a sentence, your ass is already stuffed in a locker. Like, it's just insane how the culture has shifted. And when I sat here and I thought about it, because this movie that is based on a comic book, that is inspired by anime, manga, and video games, came out in 2010 before geek culture really took off. I'm like, yeah, no shit, this movie bombed. And then also coupled with the fact that I talked about this in the comic video, where I was all like, I was so happy that this story surrounded 20-year-olds, because you don't really see that a lot. It's usually teenagers and then adult stories. You never really see young adult focused stories. And then I realized why that was. He said, we're not lucrative anymore. If you want to make money off of a product, you either market it towards children, which includes teenagers, by the way. You either market it towards children, which includes teenagers, or like mid-20-year-olds, because they are the ones with the money. You have mid-20-year-olds who have disposable income, and then you have the kids who will bug their parents to buy them and take them to stuff and do all that. Where you have people my age, we're not buying random shit. The fuck? We're just trying to survive, nigga. And then that's when I thought about it more. Yo, 2010, where 20-year-olds were coming off of the financial crash right after the 2008 recession. Yeah, no shit, niggas weren't going out to see this random ass movie, gang, about a culture, about multiple groups of people, about a culture that people don't like. Hell no. But I was sat back. Oh, I just shot the gun. You're gonna have to get that hole patched up. Anyways, and that's why I was wondering, I was like, why are people around now just talking about this? And that's when I realized, oh, Scott Pilgrim has become it went from in 2010 from being a group of 20-something-year-old geeky people, loser nobodies, to now becoming one of the most mainstream lucrative products this generation could ever get their hands on. Yo, Scott Pilgrim is unironically the most Gen Z bait thing I've ever seen. Yo, anime, this I'm sorry so much. This is the most default Gen Z person you can find. Anime, I'm sorry. I haven't even said the joke. Anime? No, wait. No. Favorite genre of music? This doesn't have to do with Scott Pilgrim, but let me just shit on Gen Z for a second. Favorite genre of music is K-pop or hip-hop. Gamer, anime, and video games. Favorite video game? Favorite video game is Persona 5. Never played it though. It's just crazy. I'm just all like, damn, in 14 years, the whole entire culture is just shifted. That's crazy. Cause listen, I remember what it was like to be a gamer / anime fan in the 2000s, gang. Not the 2010s. I'm talking about the 2000s, my nigga. Yo, I had literal teachers harassing me, trying to tell me in discreet ways how they believed I was gonna grow up to become a school scooter. And then if you watched anime back in the 2000s, yo, I'm gonna try and say this without getting my channel flagged. But essentially, if you were an anime watcher in the 2000s, people thought you were the equivalent of a Discord mod. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. So again, I watched the movie late last year, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. Read the comics, loved it, and I watched the movie again. I actually watched it earlier. I actually watched and finished it earlier today. And I have this new perspective on it that I don't know if I'm allowed to say because I'm kind of biased now. For one, it was lovely being able to know the characters and know the ins and outs of how the world of Scott Pilgrim works because I had read all the volumes, so I knew everything. So I knew everything and all the characters instead of watching it for the first time in like 14 years and getting hit back to back with so much information that I can't retain. Who the fuck is this character? What do they do? And what is this new concept that I'm supposed to memorize? Like, felt like I was getting hit with so much knowledge on my second viewing. But watching it earlier today, I was all like, wow, this is actually pretty enjoyable when I already know what's going on. And then, I read the comics, right? And I was reading up about Brian Lee O'Malley and all the extra info that he had about his mindset when he was making Scott Pilgrim. And so I started listening to Plumtree. If y'all don't know, Scott, one of his iconic shirts, it's not shown here. I'll put a photo on screen. It says Plumtree. That's a band. That's a really old, I believe, indie rock Canadian band back in like somewhere in the fucking 90s. I don't know. I started listening to their music. I made a video about one of their songs. Sweet ass band, And I rewatched the movie and I was like, hey, Plumtree's in this. I was like, that's crazy how one of the influences for Scott Pilgrim was Plumtree. By the way, one of their songs actually is called Scott Pilgrim, and that was the song that I heard in the movie. I was like, wait, this is Scott Pilgrim, like the song, not the character. Like they're playing Scott Pilgrim in what the fuck? Inception! Why am I like this? It was so interesting, again, to see how you condense 6 books into a 2-hour experience And there is so much information, there is so much more character that's in the comics. I strongly suggest if you enjoyed this movie, you gotta read the comics. There is so much more character. And in my opinion, my only gripe with the movie is the ending. And the relationship between Scott and Ramona. Because I feel like that is something that just that does not hit as heavy as it does in the comics. And the ending especially, no spoilers, but the ending in the comics, it's different. It's different. And that's the only thing that I think the movie just did not do justice. And that was the ending. It was good, mind you. When I first watched it, when I watched it the second time, for the first time in like 13 years, I 1000% got to the ending and thought to myself, what the fuck was that? Because I didn't like any of the characters. I definitely did not like Scott. I still don't like Scott. Fuck that motherfucker. Ramona, I just didn't understand. And that's what I'm saying. I feel like I'm cheating by having knowledge of what their characters are supposed to be with the comics, that when I got to the end of the movie, even though I still felt the same way, that their chemistry in the movie just was not there, I still had the prior knowledge of the comics in my mind that I was all like, but this is so cute though. And I was like, but this is so cute though. Oh my God. Oh, my camera's about to die again. This sucks. Ah. Ah. Okay, so for this last part, right, I want to be very serious. Stop laughing. Okay. For this last part, I want to be very serious. And it's a very genuine question. Yo, why are Canadians so different, bro? No, okay. So while I was reading the comics, right, again, no spoilers, I'm not going to say any names, but there is a character in the comic, literally right at the very end of it, that was in a homosexual relationship. And I don't have a problem with that at all. I love queers. But it really got me wondering, because I was thinking to myself, this comic was released in the 2000s. I know it started in the early 2000s, but even then, just the 2000s alone, listen. As an American, listen, I've literally been in movie theaters in like 2019 where there would be two men in a movie, I'm not going to say what movie it was, but it was two men who were clearly in a relationship. I literally heard so many people groan, and I don't remember if I'm making this up or if this genuinely happened. I feel like I remember distinctively some guy throwing bits of popcorn at the screen when they saw a fucking like gay relationship. So whenever I go into media that has to do with the 2000s, I remember what the 2000s was like, at least as an American. And seeing a gay character in something and it not be used as a joke short-circuited my mind. And then I remembered Wallace as a character. I was like, wait, and then other characters, I was like, wait, there are multiple gay people in this shit. And then I was like, what the fuck? Why aren't they being ridiculed or like shamed or whatever? This is the 2000s. Why aren't they being ridiculed or shamed or whatever? Then I remembered this shit's Canadian. And I'm remembering so many cartoons and like movies and stuff back when I was a child that were either made in Canada or something like that, and they had some sort of gay connotation or some sort of gay relationship. In my mind, I'm thinking of things that happened in like Total Drama Island or like 16. And these were originally Canadian shows, and they had some sort of gay connotation or gay relationship in it, and it got cut out in the American releases. And I'm thinking to myself, yo, why are Canadians like, why ain't y'all bigoted? And I should make the distinction. I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about like y'all governments and like y'all medias and stuff, because I'm more than sure the people are the same. How come Canadian media has been okay with showcasing queer relationships for, at least to my knowledge, whereas Americans get outraged and throw hissy fits? Like, I don't get it. Like, what's it, like, why? Like, it just throws me off. I was watching this one movie the other day, and it was called But I'm a Cheerleader. And I had no clue that movie was going to feature fantastically, like, wonderful actors and actresses who just so happened to be homosexual. And again, I have no issue with the LGBTQ people. I love queers. But I was looking, I was like, this movie, I knew this movie came out in the 90s. Specifically, I think it was like 98 or 99. I was like, there's no way this fucking movie came out in America in 1999. Bitch, please. And so I looked at the release dates and I saw, yo, it originally released in Canada. And then it took a year after production for it to release in America. I'm like, what's up with Canada, gang? What do I have to do to make the Canadian government homophobic? No. Okay, I gotta break character. I gotta break character. Hold on. Wait. No, but it genuinely confused me, because I was like, there's actually a lot of queer representation in Scott Pilgrim that I was not aware of. Let this shit have been an American comic that had come out in current days, oh, I would have heard all about it. I would have heard the wokeification of comic books. The world is ending. Oh my God, what are they doing? What are they trying to do to us? It just caught me off guard, especially at the end of the comic. I expected some sort of fucking like homophobic shit to go down, but it was just chill. I was like, oh, this isn't an American product. I was like, I was piecing shit together. I was like, damn, they must do shit different in Canada. Again, like media-wise, I'm not talking about the government, and I'm not talking about the people, because again, I'm sure we're the same. But something about media in Canada, they just don't care. I guess. I don't know. So I watched Scott Pilgrim the first time, didn't remember anything about it. 13, 14 years later, I watched it a second time, thought it was okay. Read the comics, got the backstory on the characters, fell in love with the franchise. Watch it again. Genuinely, I think this might be my favorite movie of the year. I don't know if that's cheating, but it turned from an okay movie to me beforehand to becoming one of my favorite films that I've watched this year, and I think I could watch it multiple times. I don't know how that happened, but yo, I think I might have to watch the anime. Am I gonna start watching anime again? Absolutely not. Nothing's gonna make me become a degenerate again. Nothing. And honestly speaking, I think that potentially Jiggles? Jiggles? No. What the